Alright, so I went ahead and ordered a Build Your Own MRE from MRE Nation. It can be found at MRENation.com. And they have a few interesting build your own options. I've previously taken a look at their Build Your Own MRE case, and with that one you get to choose 12 menus from their list of currently around 40 different menus. And of course those are set menus, so you're choosing which ones you get, but within the MREs it's going to be whatever they put in them. The other options are Build Your Own MRE and Build Your Own 24-hour ration. And with those, you actually are making a custom MRE. You're getting the outer bag and an accessory kit, but everything else inside there you're picking yourself. And we have seen a couple companies try to do this before. I think the logistics of it have just been too much for the most part. And I'm hoping that MRE Nation is going to be able to really follow through with this. I've already seen some reviews of these Build Your Own MREs, and it seems like they're really doing the right thing. Everything's going really cool with it. I know in the past, XMRE made an attempt to have something where you could really customize your own MRE, and that disappeared quite a while ago. It didn't last very long. And also Custom MRE, which was a predecessor of MRE Nation, they also had an option where you could build your own MRE. The company itself is actually gone now, so obviously that didn't really work out all that great. But it seemed like something that was kind of too exciting to pass up, so I did have to check it out for myself. And I figured for the video, instead of just doing a review of the MRE, since it is all custom and everything, we're going to really check everything out. We're going to do an unboxing, because I haven't even seen this thing myself. I ordered it, but I haven't seen it. We're going to do an unboxing, we're going to open it up, do an inspection of all the components, and kind of go over what they offer, what they have, and why I chose the choices that I did. We have our packing list here. And I should also mention that I don't really like talking about the prices because that's something that can change, but here's the packing list here. But currently, and as of when I ordered this just a few days ago, these are $13.95, which to me is an excellent price. They're regular MREs. If you buy just one of those, they're $12.95 each. So for only $1 more, you get to customize it, make it exactly what you want to have in an MRE. That's really cool. And one last thing to mention while I still have the box out here is that the shipping charge for this was $5.95. They have flat rate shipping for, it's obviously going to be more for a case, but for a single item for a small order, it's kind of low. And I think it's really worth it, because for $5.95, I get priority shipping. If you know anything about priority shipping, a priority shipping box costs more than that to send. So somehow they can manage to charge $5.95, so about $6. And I ordered this on Wednesday afternoon, so it was kind of late in the day for a business to really be shipping things out. And this wasn't something where they just grab something off the shelf and ship it. They actually had to put this thing together and seal it up and ship it out. So I ordered it Wednesday afternoon, and it arrived this morning, Saturday, and it was early in the morning. It wasn't one of those things where the delivery truck went out in the middle of the afternoon and I got it at the end of the day. It actually arrived before 9 o'clock this morning. So it was 3 days in total, and it was really only about 2.5 days before I got it. So that's a lot of stuff to mention, but I really thought that was worth mentioning. And here is my custom MRE, and you can see this is actually vacuum sealed. One of those things I always say, it's not necessary for an MRE to be vacuum sealed, the outer bag, but I always think it's a great touch, and I really generally do appreciate that. And I can see one of the components in here right away because it's just sealed so nicely. We might even get a hiss out of this bag. So we have individual meal ready to eat. This has a peelable seal for military, civilian, and emergency preparedness from MRE Nation. Complete meal. It has MRENation.com and the phone number. Flameless ration heaters are prohibited on a commercial airlines unless sealed in original ration bag. That is another thing, of course, there is I didn't mention the flameless ration heaters also come standard with this. So you're going to get the outer bag, obviously, and you're going to get the accessory kit, which includes coffee and a bunch of other stuff, and you're going to get a flameless ration heater. And I'm not sure if a hot beverage bag is included or not, but we will find out in a second. Alright, and I am expecting this to be kind of a long video, so I do want to get to it and actually see if we can maybe combine some stuff so it doesn't take quite as long. I do want to go over some of the choices that they offer you. I think just like some of the menus will change over time, some of the choices you have for components in your custom MRE are going to change too. As a matter of fact, it does say, and this is coming directly from the website, items will vary with inventory, so check back often. So some of the stuff that I may say is available in this video may not actually be available when you go to the website. And another thing to mention too is that MRE Nation's MREs generally have a calorie count between 1,500 to over 2,000 calories. There's obviously no guarantee as to what exactly your calorie count is going to be in here because everyone is going to be different depending on what people choose. But it does seem like they're still saying it's around 1,500 for a single meal and around 3,000 or up to 3,000 for a 24-hour ration. But once we get everything out of here, we can do a calorie count and see what it is. And obviously, like I said, they're not guaranteeing anything, they're not claiming anything, but we'll see what the calorie count actually is on this meal. And now we're going to open it up, and while we're doing it, we'll see if we can get a little hiss out of this outer bag, which I don't think I've ever gotten a hiss out of an outer bag before. Actually, that's not true. I just did a halal one that was vacuum sealed, and I poked it with a knife. Which, now that I think of it, that might be a better idea. Why don't we actually give this a little poke with a knife and see if this gives us a hiss. Yep, made a little release there. Now, it feels a little more like a regular MRE. Alright, so we have our first hiss before we even get into the bag. And here is my custom MRE. And we'll go through these things as they appear on the website. My entree I picked, it's nothing too exciting, but it's an old standby, and it is one of my favorites, so I figured I'd go with chili and macaroni. Chili Mac. It says a date code on it of 8142. So it was packaged on the 142nd day of 2018. And when I went on the site to build this was one of 13 entrees that were available, 13 mains. I don't know if that will change with time, but it is a good number. It's, these are 13 choices, but as I said, I went with the chili and macaroni. And it looks like the sides have already changed on the website since I ordered this 3 days ago. They currently list black beans and sauce, garlic mashed potatoes, potatoes au gratin, Santa Fe rice and beans, and white rice. And when I did it, they actually had this tuna pate from the French RCIR. So I don't think that's something that will necessarily go with this meal, but because of the fact that I was doing something I was going to be sharing as a video and kind of wanted to show the versatility of this and the different kind of things you could get, I just kind of had to go with this. I think the potatoes au gratin might have been a better choice for me personally. But how can you not take a French RCIR component if you have the option? And then for bread, they have crackers, Italian breadsticks, multigrain bread, plain tortillas, and wheat snack bread. The crackers probably would have gone best with this because of some of the other stuff that I got. For instance, the tuna pate could have gone on the crackers, and the spread that I got would go well on the crackers. But I went with the Italian breadsticks, trans fat free. And I actually went with that for a couple of reasons. First off, I've actually never had the Italian breadsticks. I always seem to get the wheat snack bread, and I did kind of want to try these. And it also seems like it goes good with a pasta dish like chili and macaroni. But then speaking of the spreads, while I don't really have anything specific to put this on, unless obviously I can put some on some of the breadsticks, I did get plain cheese spread. The choices they had for spread were apple jelly, cheese spread, chunky peanut butter, plain peanut butter, grape jelly, and strawberry jelly. And I've always been a fan of the cheese spread, so I went with that. Alright, and the snack also presented a few interesting choices. They had some pretty normal sounding stuff like corn nuts, dried fruit mix, dry roasted peanuts salted, mango peach applesauce, pears, pretzels, and raisins. But in addition, there was also a couple of choices from British Rations. They had a British sesame bar, and the one that I ended up picking, the British Fruit Explosion Puree. And mine is a mixed fruit one. And it says a best before date of November 2019. So there's a few snacks I probably would have been interested in general, but once again, just something really interesting to be able to put into a custom ration that's not just a standard US MRE component. And for desserts, when I ordered, they had lemon poppy seed cake, maple muffin top, marble pound cake, oatmeal chocolate chunk cookie, oatmeal cookies, and sugar cookies. And I had to go with one of my favorites. This wasn't so much because I thought it would be an interesting thing for the video as much as it really is one of my favorite things in an MRE. It's the MRE trans fat free marble pound cake. They're pretty much like all the pound cakes. And then the last thing that we customize ourselves is the drink mix. And when I ordered, they had the British Cola drink mix, British Grapefruit drink mix, British Tutti Frutti drink mix, and then for more standard MRE beverage-based powders, they had fruit punch, grape drink, and orange drink. So once again, to go with the interesting things, I went with the Tutti Frutti flavor drink powder with sugar and sweetener from a British ration. And that's pretty much it for the customizable components in a single ration, but there are a few extra items that you can add for an additional cost. You have the EJ folding camp stove with fuel tabs for $5.95. They have a South African All-Star Energy Bar for $3.49. It's interesting that that's an extra item that is also a food item. That could have gone in with the snacks. And they have a toothbrush and toothpaste for $1.50. I obviously didn't order any of those, but we do have a couple more things in here, and these are things that are included with all the rations. We have a flameless ration heater. And this one is interesting. I'm not sure where this one came from. I have seen a few of the heaters that MRE Nation uses, and it seems like they use a combination of different ones from all over the world. You can find the standard MRE type one, and I've got one from Chile, and this one, it appears to have Arabic on it. And I have to admit that I'm not exactly sure where this came from, which kind of a ration this came from. But it seems to work pretty much the same as a standard ration heater, but it does have one of these thicker heater elements that looks like it's going to be one of those really powerful ones. It takes more water, and it's going to be one of those ones that's really going to puff up in steam, which is good. These are obviously a good thing to have. And yes, I wasn't sure about this, but you do get a hot beverage bag. And actually, this is a standard MRE hot beverage bag. Most of the MRE Nation ones I've been seeing have been their own bags, which don't have writing on them yet, but they're basically clones of the Canadian ones, which have the gusset at the bottom. So this is a standard MRE one, which does not have the gusset, but still a hot beverage bag. And an MRE Star accessory pack, which includes standard MRE Star accessory pack items, like the MRE Star napkin, this spoon, which I'm not sure if any other rations have these, but I've seen these in all the MRE Nation ones so far. It's a pretty good spoon. It's a little bit more lightweight, a little bit more flexible and bendy than a standard MRE spoon, but it's strong enough to do the trick, and a slightly different bowl shape. We also do have coffee, non-dairy creamer, and sugar, moist towelette, salt and pepper, a pack of hot sauce from MRE Star, and a little pack of Smarties in lieu of gum. Alright, and here are all the components in my build your own custom MRE from MRE Nation. And as I said, I basically just picked the chili and macaroni due to the fact that it's one of my favorite entrees. Something that's been around seemingly forever, and it's really never let me down. I even had one from 1995 that Steve 1989 sent me, and that was just fine. And of course, like I said, MRE Nation doesn't make any claims as to how many calories are going to be in one of these build-your-own MREs, because it all depends on what you choose to put in it. But I still figured it was worth taking a look at the overall calorie count. And in doing so, I realized that there is something that's been left out of this. I did get the entree, but I didn't get the sleeve that comes with it that has all the nutritional information on it. But going on previous Chili Macs that I've had, I got an overall calorie count on this meal of 1,339 calories, and that does not include the stuff in the accessory pack. And that's a pretty decent amount. It may be a little bit less than what you'd expect from a standard MRE Nation MRE. MRE Nation does have a Chili Mac menu number 29, and that's listed as having 1,715 calories. Of course, that does have the standard pack in it, which does have quite a bit of extra stuff in it. It does have the Italian breadsticks that I chose, but it also has crackers, so it has 2 breads, and it also has 2 spreads. It does have a plain cheese spread, and it also has a cheese spread with jalapenos. And I guess if we're really looking everything over, the final thing to mention is some of the date codes and some of the Best By dates on these. We already mentioned that the Chili Mac is an 8142 date code. As far as the other MRE components, the breadsticks have a date code of 8072. The cheese spread, I believe this is probably the oldest thing in here. It actually has a date code of 7074. And the pound cake, 8190. So everything seems to be from 2018, which is pretty good considering we're still relatively early in 2019. The international components, the tuna pate is a Best By of September 7th, 2019. Still a few months away. The Fruit Explosion, November 2019. And the Tutti Frutti flavored drink powder, January of 2020. So everything's definitely within date. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and heat up the entree. And we're going to use this interesting flameless ration heater. And as you can see, it's quite large, quite a bit bigger than a standard US flameless ration heater. So I think we're going to be able to put the entree in here. And since the drink makes 500 milliliters, which is more than what's going to fit into the hot beverage bag, I'm going to actually mix this separately, and we'll use the hot beverage bag for the coffee, something I don't usually do in the reviews. But it'll give us a chance to put 2 items in here and actually heat up some coffee in a hot beverage bag. So we'll go ahead and do that and check everything else out. Alright, I'm going to use the coffee creamer and sugar, put them all into the hot beverage bag. Got a good shake. And we'll just take some of the air out of here. little bit easier to heat up. And this flameless ration heater does have a fill line. We're going to use that, but it does say to add 60 milliliters of water. There really is only instructions for one item, but I think we're going to be okay having the copy on the other side of the heating element. It's a little bit below the fill line, but I think it'll work. Doesn't say anything about using a rock or something. So I'm just going to make sure that the water gets to the heating element, and we'll see how this does. Alright, it is starting to make some noise now. But it has been about 4 or 5 minutes, so this is not an instant one, certainly. But as long as it works, I'm not too worried about taking a little bit longer. Now it's going. Yeah, it looks like it's a good one. Alright, so it says to give it about 12 minutes to heat up the entree. It doesn't say anything about using a rock or something, so I'm just going to leave it on its side with the top folded over. Alright, let's take a look at the MRE trans fat-free marble pound cake, which has 260 calories. It smells really good. You know what? It smells like Cocoa Puffs. I guess it's that combination of chocolate and vanilla. But it smells really good. And the also trans fat-free Italian breadsticks. As I said, I've actually never had these before, so this is my first time trying these. Oh, there's definitely some. It smells like some. It's mostly like an oregano kind of smell coming off there. There's probably some garlic in there too, I would imagine, but that's definitely a lot different from a standard wheat snack bread. Of course, this does have these perforations here, so you can make 4 separate breadsticks. And the ingredients do list the seasoning. It does have garlic powder. It also has Italian herb seasoning, which includes basil, oregano, parsley, rosemary, and thyme, and natural onion flavor. So then we have the cheese spread, which I gave that a good knead. I have that mixed up good. And we'll put that on a couple of the breadsticks. I want to save a couple for the chili mac too. We have the Fruit Explosion mixed fruit puree, which apparently is apple, strawberry, and banana. And that falls under the category of snack in the Build Your Own MRE components. Seems like it's basically going to be like an applesauce. I probably should put some out onto the tray. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm also kind of treating it as an extra beverage of sorts. And we have the French tuna pate, which, as I said, this doesn't necessarily go with this meal, but to have this as an option, I really just kind of had to try it. Actually, since it is in the can, it smells kind of like a cross between, I'm not putting it down, but a cross between just a can of tuna and cat food. But that's sort of to be expected. I mean, it's fish, it's tuna in a can, and I'm expecting it's going to taste just fine, and it's going to go good on these breadsticks. So I was going to put it into this compartment, but since it's in the can, I'll just leave the whole can in there. And the Tutti Frutti flavor drink powder with sugar and sweeteners calls for 500 milliliters of cold water. I thought this was a good choice, to once again give us something a little bit different than your standard MRE drink beverage mixes. And it definitely smells different too. I think I've had this once before, and I was kind of thinking it was going to be like a fruit punch, but it almost smells like a fruity bubble gum. And it really does smell like a fruit-flavored bubble gum. And the 500 milliliters obviously gives you a lot of beverage. So even with this glass, we still have quite a bit left over. And I believe that leaves us with our entree and our coffee. This thing, there's definitely some heat in there. It's not quite as explosive as I was expecting it to be, but it does seem to be more than warm. And the coffee is actually very hot. Also seems to be leaking a little bit. Alright, and hopefully the entree will be the same. It's not what I would call hot. I did turn it around halfway through. It's very hot right here, but then just lukewarm in some other spots. So I'm gonna mix this around a little bit, wipe it off, and then we'll check it out. And needless to say, we pretty much know what to expect from this entree. We'll stand by. There it is. Basically a bunch of beef chunks and macaroni and a tomato sauce. Alright, and there it is. Quite a familiar thing. It's been a while since I've had this, and it does look like the consistency has changed a little bit. It kind of, if anything, looks more like a canned pasta than ever, because it looks like the beef is all in these little, almost all the same size kind of little chunks. If it's possible, it has an even more processed look than ever before. But I'm expecting it to have a good taste, as it's always had. And let's try it out. Yep, that's very good. It's not unlike beefaroni, which it actually is quite similar to, because beefaroni does have those little pasta tubes. It is slightly more spicy than what you'd find in a can of Chef Boyardee, which I guess is why it's called chili. Not saying that it's particularly spicy, of course, just it's not bland. Tastes really good. You can definitely taste the beef. The pasta is always kind of tricky in these retort pouches. They whether they're overcooked or just from being in storage, they do tend to get kind of mushy. And this certainly isn't a firm pasta, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all considering it's been stored in a retort pouch. It doesn't bother you with the slightly soft consistency that it has. We will get back to that. First, I want to try the coffee, which is okay. I was about to say it tastes just fine, but it's actually not great. It seems to almost have a little bit of a packaging flavor to it. I didn't really look at the coffee when I opened it to see if it had any dry mold, but considering how recent it is, I don't think that would have been a problem. And bottom line is it's okay. It's instant coffee. What do you expect from that? Try one of these breadsticks. I want to do a few things with these, but I do want to give it a taste on its own. And I did notice that one of the ingredients, which has a bunch of sub-ingredients, is actually called snack bread premix. So obviously this is definitely related to wheat snack bread. And it does kind of feel like wheat snack bread when eating it. Same kind of consistency, not surprisingly. But those Italian flavorings really do come through. It's definitely different. I know they have the wheat snack bread and they have the white wheat snack bread and they have multigrain bread, and to be honest, they're all pretty much similar to me. But this actually is something different. And part of the reason why I got these instead of getting crackers was, of course, to be able to have them with the chili mac. So I do need to try that. And that is really good. That's better than having crackers or wheat snack bread with your chili mac. Of course, not having the crackers, you lose the opportunity to crumble them up and give this a little bit of crunch. But that's okay. Now I want to try out the tuna pate. I'm going to try a little bit of it on its own to see what the consistency is and See if it really does taste like tuna fish, which is obviously the main ingredient of this. Yep, very much like pretty much any of the French pâtés. It definitely has that tuna fish taste, but almost a little bit like any other pâté, like a pork or a chicken one. It tastes very similar despite being fish based, and it has that same consistency. It's very smooth kind of a paste, and of course we do have to try that on the breadstick too. I almost was thinking of breaking out some crackers to have in addition to this, but of course it wouldn't be something that was included in here. But I'm kind of running out of things to put stuff on, since I only have the 4 small individual breadsticks. That is good though. Definitely different. Definitely not something I would think would be the perfect or the first thing you would think of to go with chili mac. But as you'd expect from a French RCIR component, also very good, very high quality food. While we're on the subject of the breadsticks, let's also try it with the cheese spread. Yep, very much the same experience as having wheat snack bread with cheese spread, but you do get that little bonus of the spices and seasoning in the breadstick. And try the fruit explosion. This obviously is in a nice convenient pouch you can just eat right out of here. And yeah, it's basically it's like an applesauce, but you're tasting the strawberry and the banana in there too. And the reason I moved the tuna pate is because we might as well take a look at this. It defeats the purpose of having it in this pouch, but it is a review, right? And not surprisingly, yeah, you're getting an applesauce, fruit puree. But it is really tasty, kind of different, and it gives you a nice little fruit element to your ration. And that actually really does go good with this meal. I'll try a little bit of the Tutti Frutti drink. It almost looks like a lemon lime drink, but I forget that it's actually the Tutti Frutti. And you can't forget once you taste it. Like I said, it's kind of smells as the powder and as a liquid, and now as it turns out it also tastes a lot like bubblegum, like fruit stripe bubblegum. Another different thing that kind of freshens this up and makes it a little bit different from a standard MRE. And that leaves us with our marble pound cake, which can't get much better marbling than that. It's almost like it was made for a commercial or something. Already said how good it smells. Now let's see how it tastes. It is very good, if maybe a little bit on the dry side. I don't know if that's the trans fat free part, but as I mentioned, I do like the pound cakes. If this was just a plain pound cake without any kind of extra flavorings, it would be good. And when you first bite into it, that's kind of what it feels like you're biting into, or just a pound cake. And then you get that almost aftertaste of the chocolate. And it's a kind of a artificial sort of chocolate taste, but it tastes like Cocoa Puffs, as I'd mentioned, a cereal. And it's very good. It's very tasty. This might not go as well with applesauce as a plain one, or something that's more of a fruit flavor rather than chocolate, but might as well try that. And that does work just fine too. Despite not just being a regular applesauce, it also has the banana and the strawberry in it too. So we pretty much checked everything out, and now the last thing to do is to maybe dress up the entree a little bit with some of this MRE Star hot sauce and a little bit of cheese spread. And I do personally enjoy the chili mac as it is, so we're not going to go overboard with this, but I want to at least give it a try. Yeah, there's a little bit more than I intended to put on there, but let's give that a try. Yeah, that's good. It actually goes really good with the fact that it's chili. It kind of reminds me of those spicy Doritos. I mean, obviously you want your chili to taste like chili, but it really does give it kind of an authentic sort of really southwestern spice to it. Not overpowering, but nice and peppery. And there is cheese in the sauce, but it never hurts to add a little bit of extra. I'll try this with the hot sauce. And that really does change the flavor profile. I mean, it's like a completely different dish. And it's good. It's perfectly fine. Of course, as I mentioned, I do like the chili mac. So I don't think it necessarily needs it, but it does give you options to kick it up a notch if you really like your stuff spicy, and if you just eat it a lot and get bored of it and want to change it around a little bit. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. That pretty much covers everything. think I'll have a couple of these Smarties before I finish everything up here. Despite the tuna not really necessarily going perfectly with this, it's really cool that I picked everything in here. I may have gone with maybe the potatoes au gratin instead of the tuna if I was really making a perfect meal, but I like the entree, I like the sides, I like the dessert, I like the drinks. It's pretty cool to be able to build your own MRE. And that's exactly what this was. This was my very own build your own MRE from MRE Nation. Go to MRENation.com to check it out and build your own. Thank you for watching.